My lovelies, it's me, author Alexandrian Fonte, coming to you with a new review. Basically today we will be reviewing author Miss Brandy K. Now, she isn't a part of our roster, but remember, this week we're doing all Amazon authors. So basically anyone that Jen downloaded off of, stick my glasses on, that Jen downloaded off the off Amazon.com is who we will be reviewing this week. So they're not on our roster yet, but hopefully at some point they will be. Once again, I'd like to thank Ben Sound for our music in the background. Remember, we have to give him a shout out. So if you would like to use royalty-free, free music, just pop onto his site, bensound.com, and you can find everything from like chant to basic rock and roll. So now, tomorrow we will be reviewing our mainstream, which basically is what I like to call Caucasian authors. I'll show you guys at the end of the review, and then we'll finish this week out with Amazon books, and then next week we will start reviewing our submission authors. So this weekend we're going to try to get more so we can finish the entire week next week. So that's what we might start doing as well. Review Amazon authors from that we don't know for 1 week, and then the next week we will review submission authors, because it seems like we're not getting enough to do 2 weeks at a time. We'll get like a week straight, and then we'll have to do books that Jen has downloaded from Amazon, and then the next week we will get submission authors. So that might be what we're going to do. I mean, we're still filling out the channel. We just, for those of you who don't know, we just launched it in December, so like the 31st of December. That's why if you look at the earlier videos of the channel, before we got all the loveliness, or what I like to call loveliness, see it all. Look up there, mermaids. Anyway, so before we got all of that, we had a Christmas theme because of the fact that we started during Christmas. And that's pretty much it. And then remember, our days are Monday through Thursday is romance. Friday is everything. Saturday is normally nothing. And then Sunday was YA. But once again, we don't have any YA authors this week either. So I believe Jen and I are going to talk it over this weekend. And I believe we're going to just make that day a fiction day. If we get a YA author, that's awesome and it's great. And we will feature them on the channel. But if we don't, then we're just going to review regular fiction on that day. So now tonight's author, she's not on our list, and tonight's read is a dragon read. So basically, just 1 second. It's a dragon read, and it is an IR as well. And it's by author it says Dragon Interracial Romance. I'm the Only One. And it's by Miss Brandy K. There is the cover. Sexy. Yes, it is. Now, this book follows. Okay, I believe there's a couple in this series. So I'm not sure if this is like a box set, because book 2, or at least the beginnings of book 2. Yeah, that's what it was. Book 2 and book 3, the beginnings of them are in this book. So now this book follows, just 1 sec. Divine. Her name is Divine. Darn it, I forgot her last name. Okay. Anyway, this book follows Divine. Divine is Divine Kramer. Okay. She works for a law firm, and she's sort of like an she isn't in law school. I can't remember exactly what she's in school for, but I know she's in school. But I don't believe it's law school. She took an underwritership or like like a paid internship or something like that with this law firm, because basically they needed someone in the job, and hey, she needed a job, so she took it. And so she works for this company, and so when the book opens up, her father has died, and so she's in shock, and she's trying to basically have his funeral and stuff. So the dad was this big, huge artist, but he was sort of the artist that didn't care that he was an artist. He didn't care anything about like being an artist. So the accolades, the showings, the museums, all that kind of stuff. He wasn't into that. He didn't even care about it. And so, being around crowds and that kind of stuff was like the least thing that he wanted to do. And so he gets killed and he's murdered, so she pretty much has to identify the body, all these kind of things, and then she has the funeral. Well, at the funeral, this guy walks up to her, like she's getting all the condolences, and people, giving her their condolences, and this guy walks up to her and he says his name is Alex. Darn it, why am I forgetting these people's last names? I'm so sorry. Um, yeah, so like when he walks up to her, she thinks he's just like another, condolence. And so he walks up to her, he asks her name, and she's like, yes. And then, basically she's like, thank you so much, blah 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 blah, and he's pretty much like, no, that's not what I was going to say. Yes, I'm very sad that your father died, but that's pretty much not what I was going to say. And so they have a conversation, and then he introduces himself as Alex Bloom. And so once he says his name and she basically recognizes his face, she sees that he's like this one huge billionaire dude. And so they talk for a little bit, and then he says, oh, I believe he asks if she's actually working for the law firm. And then the next day he shows up and he wants an underwriter for like this big huge trust. It's like a $20 million trust. And so when he comes to the firm, he asks for her specifically. And so she's a little wigged about that because of the fact that, she's like a lowly. Or like in their eyes at least a lowly. She doesn't own anything in this company. She's not one of the partners. I'm sorry, my hair looks so jacked up. It takes days for the flat iron to set in, and then I didn't flat iron it today. As you can probably tell, I'm all bushy, but anyway. And so basically, he asks for her. She goes in to see him, and she's like completely shocked because it's like that's really not her job. And for him to come in and ask for her boss like had a little bit of attitude. And so basically, he asked her to do this underwriting, whatever, to open up this trust. And then he says, have dinner with me. And so she's kind of like, yeah, no. And then he's really insistent. And so finally she's like, fine. And so they go out to dinner, and then they wind up having an interlude, but they don't actually have sex. And so then the next day he shows up at her job, and then he's like pissed off. And so her boss is like, yeah, we're trying to console him because he's pissed off for some reason. Well, during the interlude, they never had sex. And then she was like, I have to go, because she realized, okay, this is a client, I should not be doing this. And so she's like, I have to go. And he didn't seem like he was pissed off at the time. And so she was more regretful than anything. And so she winds up leaving. And then like he has like this soliloquy with his mind and talking about her and all the stuff that, is basically concerning her and his revenge and all this stuff. And so you're kind of like, you don't really know what's going on. And then so he goes and, he tells her bosses that, you know, he needs to see her, and he's this and this and that, and he won't speak to anyone but her. And so then she goes in there, and he's like, get your stuff, let's leave it, we're leaving. And she's like, wait, what? And then he's like, yeah. He's like, and so she freaks out because she's like, did you just get me fired? Oh my god, you got me fired. And then he's like, no, you're leaving. And so he basically, because he's a billionaire, they were pretty much doing what he said. So they went, the one guy went and got her stuff. And then it's like, she's walking out and he hands it to her. And then he's like, let's go. And so she's like, still not really understanding what's going on. So she goes with him. And then, like, he starts asking her like certain questions, like about a horde and this and that. And so basically, that's where I'm going to stop. She realizes that her dad was a dragon. And he's like a red dragon, one of the more powerful ones. And then she finds out that Alex is a dragon, and then Sonora, I believe her name is, Sonora, is a dragon too. Now it's kind of, and so she's a blue dragon. He's a blue dragon. The guy Alex is a blue dragon. And then the Sonora woman, I think she's green. No, actually it's the other way around. She's the blue dragon and Alex is the green dragon. And so she finds out that her father was a red dragon. And in this scope of, or this universe, the red dragon, I'm assuming, is the more powerful one, because of the fact that when they're leaving, he's taking her out of town, or he's taking her back to his territory, because this isn't his territory. And so he's taking her back, and then their car, like the SUV that they're riding in, is attacked. And she sees the dragon before it hits, but she thinks like, she's just imagining, you know, stuff. And so she's just like, wait, what? And so, so basically she sees the dragon, it hits the car, and then it like blows a hole in the side of the car. And the little, sorry, I felt bad for him, the little old driver, you know, he was just doing his job. There was a space and there was blood in the door, so you know he pretty much got jacked up. And then so then he shifts into his dragon, and he has to try to like get away from this big red drake that's chasing them. And so he's not doing a very good job. And then like he flies into a certain territory, and it's this woman Sonora's territory. And so basically they start to fight at first, and then she realizes that he's being attacked by this red dragon. And so through somehow Divine gets pitched on the ground. And so she's hiding, and she's watching all of this, you know, exchange between them, and she thinks she's going crazy because they're dragons and all this stuff. And so then at some point she realizes that her father was a red dragon as well. And so I'm going to stop there, because I did have some issues with the book, because one, there was like a serious lull to the book. Like, it read very slowly. Like, I kept waiting for the action. Even with the red dragon chasing them, that was pretty much all of the action that, like, I don't want to say all, because there was another scene that was supposed to be action, but it wasn't really like enough. And so I followed the story, but it was very sluggish, I should say. And then I kept waiting for that oomph, you know, for whatever it was that you need to like get the book to be like, oh my god, this book was so good, or oh my god, it's dragons, you know. I was just waiting for that, and I just really literally never got it. And so if I had to start this book, I would start this book 3 stars, because I just feel like one, there was no world build up. Like, the book opens with the father, and everything is supposed to be a mystery. And I understand that. But I kind of feel like even though that character Alex came off like, suave and debonair, I kind of feel like more of that could have been played up because of the fact that he is a dragon. Dragons are all about their bling. I mean, come on, they're in a cave. She got that. I felt like she got that part right, the horde. And so I kind of felt like she could have played him up more, because of the fact that he is a dragon. And then I feel like there was not enough build up, even with like the length of the book and the lull in the story, because I felt like it was a bunch of information that was not needed. I still don't feel like the characters were complete. You know what I'm saying? Like there were so many, they were one dimensional. Like there was so much that could have been said about these characters to build them up in this world itself. And then I don't feel like the world was built enough for the first book. It's like, I know that I compare, like a lot of times I will compare my book to a book, and I don't do that to like try to say that I'm better as an author than everybody else. That's what I'm doing. It's just that I've been doing this for 9 years, and the first book that you throw out there, you have to build your world. I mean, like seriously build your world. Because especially if it's going to be a series, you can't wait till the second book to throw down, because what's going to happen is 9 times out of 10, you will lose your readers because you didn't catch them when the first book. And now, so my first book gives a lot of information because I'm building this world, but it's world building. It's not just random information that or scenes that lull and the conversation between the characters. I also feel like, when it comes to paranormal, I don't care about if they had sex on the first night. I don't care about that. It's already a fantasy world, so no one should penalize an author, a paranormal. I don't even think you should penalize a contemporary romance author if she decides to let the characters have sex on the first night, because it's fantasy. It's not real. So, I mean, I know that we put stock into, the books that we read, but we also have to suspend, disbelief and suspend reality in order to be able to get in that world in the first place. So I normally don't judge books like that. I don't care about that. I don't look for that. But I just feel like her world needed to be built up more, especially having dragons. I freaking love dragons. I know you guys heard me rave about Indy Jones's book, and then Kanisha's It Takes a Fairy. I freaking love that. And the fact that she made in Kanisha's book, she made her a black onyx dragon, and she a woman of color too. But anyway, and so basically I really truly love dragons like that. And so, or Ophelia Bell's book, she had dragons too, Animaeus. And they built that world up first before they threw in the dragons. And so, even though, because like even Indy starts with a prologue, and you get to see these dragons in their native realm, like, it's between the divide. And so she built up all of that in the beginning. And so then once it flips over to the real world or the human world, you have the image of that already in your head from when she built it up in the first place. Kanisha, although in Kanisha's he is a fairy, he's half dragon as well. And even though it's going off the fairy first, once they get to that dragon realm, she builds it up like completely with dragons coming out of the woodworks and all this kind of stuff. And so I understand that there was like this little mystery about it because of the fact that she didn't know that she was a dragon and that her father was a dragon. And I understand that, but I still feel like in order, if you're going to throw in the fact that this main male character is a dragon, you have to give him some build up as well. You don't have to touch her because she doesn't know she's a dragon yet. But if this is the father's realm and this character is talking about getting revenge on the father, or that was his original idea, to get revenge on the father and to take his hoard and to take what he had, then you have to give him some build up. You can't just throw this character in there and say these things. It's fine if you say them, but we need to see them. Or like, at least it's like you need to show the reader what it is that you're writing in you. They need to be able to see that in their mind. And so I just feel like there was no world building. So this book gets a 3 stars from me. I really feel like the author could really come correct with this book and do so much more with it, but it isn't a bad read, which is why it still gets a 3 stars. But I just feel like whatever that was that would push me over to 3.5 or 3.75, it just wasn't there for me. And so she gets a 3 stars. And so I want you guys to still remember, these are just my opinions. They're not, even though I'm an author, I'm not a book critic. So these are just my opinions. And the one thing about opinions, you know what they say? They're like, everybody has one. And so this is the book. It is called I'm the Only One. And it's a dragon interracial romance. And it's by Miss Brandy K. And you can pick this up at Amazon. Right now, I believe it is a freebie. A lot of the books that Jen finds are on Amazon right now are freebies. So I believe it's a freebie, and you can basically go over to Amazon right now and download it because it's free. And then let me make sure, just to be on the safe side, to make sure I'm sending you guys in the right direction. Okay. Yeah, it's a really long, this is a really long book because she put, just the book itself. It says 600 and, it's a really long read. It says 600 and, just one second. Just make sure. Okay, it says 657 pages. Oh, wait, shoot. Okay. Now, I don't know. She might have made a mistake again, because this says Heartthrob Publishing, May 29, 2018. So she might actually be a represented author. Darn it. We try not to do this. Jen has to get better at this. I'm not exactly sure, but anyway, it's too late because we already reviewed it. She may actually be a published author because under publishing it says, yeah, it says, darn it. It will usually say that the book, like if the book is published by Amazon, what it'll do is it'll usually say published by Amazon Services. And I'm not seeing this. And this is really weird because her page won't even load. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that. But anyway, we reviewed it anyway, and so that's pretty much it to this review, at least to that part. Now tomorrow we will still, like I said in the beginning, we will still be reading our downloaded ones. Hopefully Jen gets it right. I'm not exactly sure who we'll be reading yet, but it will be something juicy. I know. I may actually read an erotic romance tomorrow. I'm not sure. But I will definitely let you guys know. And so that is pretty much it. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace and love. And don't forget, even though she may not be an indie author, you guys can still pick up this book. It's a dragon book and it's free. And you can't ever go wrong with dragons, no matter what author it is, whether they're white, black, green, blue, whatever. You can't go wrong with a dragon story. That's pretty much it. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, bunches.